Welcome PNG, good evening, and it's True Kai Sports Scene. That's right, this time of the week you're tuned into one of the two best sports shows on TV. Marie, thank you again for joining us here on Sports Scene.
And thank you, Andrew, for making another appearance once again on Sports Scene.
It's been an action-packed week of sport. I mean, a lot has happened both domestically and internationally. Do you want to just touch on a few of the big things for you that's happened over the last week?
AFL POM had its major semi-final on Saturday there, so...
It's not the only association here in Port Moresby heading into the finals. We have Port Moresby Rugby League heading into their finals as well. And we've also got highlights of the semi-finals in this week's Sporting Brief, so let's take a look.
In the sports brief this week, in the POM AFL Major Semi-Final, Gordon's Kokopahs scored 11 goals, 10 behinds with a total of 76 points, defeating Bomana Cats who scored 8 goals, 5 behinds with a total of 53 points. To week 3 of the POM Rugby League Finals, in the Under-19 division, Double Warriors defeated Souths 18-4, Wests defeated Coney Tigers 18-16, while in the A grade, Double Warriors had a 2-point victory over Tarangao 20-18, and Brothers defeated Magani 22-16. In Porobada Rugby League, a very tight match in the A grade division as it ended in a 2-all draw between Raiders and Eels. A rematch will have to be played, but a date yet to be confirmed. Meanwhile, in the Gold Coast Sevens, in the Shield final, Scotland defeated US 40-5. In the Bowl final, Spain defeated England 19-14. In the Plate final, Argentina defeated France 14-7. In the match for third placing, South Africa defeated Kenya 41-7. And in the Cup finals, Fiji thrashed New Zealand 32-14. And there you have it, the sports briefs for this week. They're great sporting action. Andrew, for AFL, Kokopahs, they go into the grand final for this weekend. They'll be going up against the Uni Tigers, who were on standby last weekend.
Yeah, great win for the Kokopahs. Well done to them, and good preparation all this week heading into that grand final. Good luck to both teams. Also in the sporting briefs, the Gold Coast Sevens, the first round of the International IRB Sevens circuit over at the Gold Coast, and Fiji. Too good, overcoming the All Blacks, the Sevens team, in the final 32 points to 14. A very impressive, dominating display by the Fijians, and they're back to their best at Sevens Rugby. It's got to be said.
Great performance by Fiji there. Who would have thought?
It coincided with the Fijian Independence Day that happened last Wednesday, and I know there's a lot of Fijians celebrating in Port Moresby both because of the independence and the Sevens team's victory over the weekend. So congratulations to all you Fijians out there. South Africa also looked pretty impressive. Fijians overcame them in the semifinals, but South Africa came away with the third place.
Beating Kenya.
And they're looking like the teams to beat as usual in the 7th Circuit. Also happening over the past week, the Windies, back to their best in international cricket. They took out the World ICC 2020 tournament over in Sri Lanka, beating the host nation in the final. And of course, Chris Gayle looking too good again, smashing the sixes everywhere. Windies, congratulations.
Yeah. What about the match between Australia and New Zealand?
Oh yes, the Kangaroos, too good again. Was it really... I guess one could say it was expected up there at Dairy Farmer Stadium in Townsville, home of our True Kai North Queensland Cowboys. Kangaroos, Cameron Smith becoming one of 3 players to do it, win both the club grand final with his team, Melbourne Storm, and also captaining the Origin, Queensland Maroons to an Origin victory, and now captaining the Kangaroos to a win over the Kiwis. One of only 3 players, as I mentioned. I believe the other 2 were Alan Langer and I think Darren Lockyer. So the Queenslanders, too good.
Yeah.
18-10, though, was a pretty close match.
Yeah, it was evenly contested. It was 10-all at halftime. And then into the second half, then there was a penalty awarded to Australia, and then a try followed after, sealing the game for Australia, win for Australia there.
Yep, and it all building up, of course, to the World Cup happening next year. And our Kumals are definitely going to be taking part in that World Cup. For those of you who've been following the news in the local media, good to see. Hopefully they announce the team very soon, and Adrian Lam and the boys can start preparing, and we put on a good show next year at the Rugby League World Cup. Before we go to a break, the one other big news that's been hitting the sports, the news internationally is Lance Armstrong. Of course, we all know Lance Armstrong, the famous cyclist, 7-time Tour de France winner, although now with allegations coming out from the U.S. Anti-Doping Authority, U.S. SADA, that he was cheating the whole time. He was involved, not only involved, but he was the center of a very complicated and racket of performance-enhancing drugs, something you don't want to see. Of course, Lance Armstrong, famous throughout the world because of his feats, overcoming a very close bout with cancer that almost took his life, and coming back to win the Tour de France 7 times in a row. One of the all-time great sports people, but now this really does tarnish his reputation. What do you think, Marie?
I don't know. How could someone miss that? How did that news just come out?
Well, that's exactly it. He was tested throughout his career, and he always tested negative, so he always had that to go against all the allegations being thrown at him. But now the U.S. Anti-Doping Authority, they've stuck with it. They've come up with a pile of evidence that is just undisputable, and everyone is now, it's pretty clear that he was cheating the system throughout his whole career, and it's pretty sad to see, I think. A lot of people looking up to Lance Armstrong. It's sad to see that sort of thing happen. But it's a message to the rest of all the athletes out there, anti-doping, using drugs in sport. It's going to catch up with you, so don't do it at all.
Right. Well, we'll go for our first break now. When we come back, there's lots more on Sports Scene.
Welcome back to True Kai Sports Scene, and for you rugby league fans here in the nation's capital, Port Moresby, it is that time of year again. This weekend is going to see the grand final of both the under-19 and A grade of the Port Moresby Rugby League Association at PRL, the home of rugby league in Port Moresby. And with us, we've got Meke Maino, the POM RFL football manager. Meke, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
It is a big weekend, of course. Grand final weekend is always big. And if you can just tell us which teams are going to be taking part in these grand final matches?
Elerano the Warriors, our consistent club for this year, have landed both the under-19 and A grade in the grand final. Congrats to them. And also in the grand final, West, who are veterans in the under-19 division. And in the A grade, the other grand finalists are Parisco PNG Ports Brothers.
A lot of sponsors for the Brothers Rugby
Yes,
League team. Congratulations to them as well. All 3 clubs for making it to the grand final, making it this far. Is this who you expected to be in the grand final going through the season? Was Double Warriors the standout team of the season, or were there a bit of surprises?
Oh, the number one surprise for the rugby league fans, not only at PRL but in the city. Dobo and Brothers were on the verge of being axed, if I may use that word. And I think that became a motivation for them, who would, at that time, who would know that these 2 teams will be battling it out in the grand final.
I think that's what actually motivated them. So how were the matches yesterday, Meke?
Very good crowd, very entertaining, both A-grade matches. We had very good support from the policemen up at Bomano Police College, so thank you very much to them. Yeah, 1 or 2 people, that's what happens with losing, you know, you lose and you make a bit of noise, then you blame this person, that person, probably the referee or probably me. But the game must move on.
Exactly, the game must move on, and it has the grand final this week, and we don't want to see any of that happening after the grand final. But just going back to the other teams in the competition, I mean, the famous names like Connie Tigers, Paga Panthers, how do you think their seasons went? They would be disappointed not to be in the final this weekend?
Honestly, we owe it to the clubs this year. I think all the clubs worked really hard from the beginning. When you look at the points ladder at the end of last year, many of the teams who were battling, you know, probably way down below the top 8 and all that, they managed to reach the top 8. And look at Royals, for instance. They were almost the wooden spooners last 2 years, and this year they made it to the cutoff. They even went through to the finals, and that's what happened with most of the clubs. They have really lifted off-field management, on-field training. Most of them have adopted scientific training equipments and methods, and as a result, we've seen a very good quality of football at club level at Port Moresby Rugby League.
This year you also had inclusion of new teams as well?
That is correct. We started off with our usual 14 clubs, and we were going to start the 3rd week, and we were surprised to bring in 2 new clubs. Post Puma used to be the Puma team from some years back, and from the Hola suburb, the Hola Flies. So we had the 16 teams, and from the technical management point of view, I was happy in that with 16 teams, it would be easy to manage draws and then the top 8. So from that point of view, it was good. But from the playing time and the only venue and all that, it was a bit of full pack out. So
bit difficult to accommodate for all the teams. So we'll be looking at 16 teams again next season?
Yes, I think all teams have done well, both off the field and on the field.
Turning our attention to the actual matches themselves, starting with the under-19 match, Dobo Warriors and West, as you mentioned. For the fans out there, who should be looking at performing, or which team are you sort of tipping to walk away with the grand final?
Dobo, they deserve their place, many premiers in under-19 this year. But having said that, West have been in the last 4 grand finals, and to be in 4 straight grand finals is not something you just pick up on the road. They work hard for it. What I mean here is that they know the pathway there, and if Dobo is not careful, they could get thrown out.
It's a bit like the NRL grand final situation where we had Melbourne Storm, the experienced grand finalists, up against the minor premiers, the Canterbury Bulldogs. Are you expecting the same type of result with those with the grand final experience, West walking away with it?
It will not be fair from my position to make any predictions.
I think
honest answer. I was trying to get it out of him, but he's done well.
It's interesting because we have West, who are they've been to the finals, and then we have Dobo Warriors, who haven't been to the finals for quite a while.
And let's be fair with them; they've been a consistent side this year.
Looking at the semi-final results, Dobo Warriors overcoming South 18-4, so a good, a convincing win there. But the West, very tight match of the Connie Tigers with the 18-16 final scoreline there. Do you think any of that matters when you're going into a grand final, or is the grand final a one-off match? You just take it on the day?
Of course, West and Connie Tigers met in the under-19 grand final last year, and that was how the score was, 20 points to 18. You can see that those two would have been in the grand final again. So Dobo's got to be careful.
Any players that we should be watching out for, especially for the Dobo Warriors team or the West team? We concentrate too much on the A-grade players, that the under-19 players, we just look at the age and we just look at the talent and all that. But I think both teams will show a good account of themselves.
Yeah. There was a really good match in the A-grade, Dobo Warriors against Tarangao, 2-point margin. Well, what are you expecting on this Sunday?
Yeah, from a PRL point of view, it's a bit disappointing. Tarangao did not get the opportunity to defend the title, to make it back-to-back grand final appearances. But having said that, again, you cannot take anything away from Dobo Warriors. As I said earlier, they are a consistent side.
And Brothers, the team they're up against this weekend, how do you think their performance has been throughout the season?
Brothers is one team. To tell you the truth, all throughout, week by week, Dobo and Brothers, neck and neck, right up to the end. Dobo just pipped them for the minor premiership.
So in terms of a 2012 culmination, this is the match that everyone wants to see. Dobo Warriors against Brothers.
It doesn't get any better, Andrew. It doesn't get any better.
You look so excited. I can tell you're already counting down the nights until Sunday. On the grand final, the A-grade grand final, again, just shed a bit of light on the players to watch and some of the different things that the different teams will be, the tactics they'll be employing on the day.
Brothers used a lot of speed yesterday, and had it been another team, they would have racked up more points than what they did on Magani, or otherwise Magani would have turned the table on them. Both teams used a lot of speed. Brothers, they were very consistent right to the end, so I think they deserved their win yesterday. Whereas Magani, they dropped a few balls at very crucial times, and I think that paid in the end.
The handling errors. And what about Dobo Warriors? What are you predicting from them this Sunday?
Dobo, they've got strength and they've got speed right across. If anything, Dobo can use their ability to tackle for 80 minutes to tackle Brothers out. But given the opportunity, Brothers got a lot of speed. They've got a lot of experience in Timothy Komani. They have in Bobby Mori. They have Israel Eliab. These are players with big name. In Dobo, you have Lasson Marabe. You have the current Prime Minister stating fullback Josiah Ababu, and the other Ababu brothers, Anthony, the captain of Dobo Brothers, and Bland, grade 12 student at POMIS. These 3 brothers, they can win a game.
So all the players from the Digicel Cup competition are back in the clubs?
As long as they have met the minimum requirement of playing 3 local games, they're
eligible to play. Good to see. Now, just remind the viewers out there, especially the ones down here in Port Moresby, what time is the action going to kick off on Sunday? How much is the gate fee? All those details?
The gates will open at 9, and we'll have some live performances, music, loud music. So if you're around the vicinity of the field and you hear a lot of music, you know where it's coming from. Make your way over there. Come and support us. Before we end the interview, I'd like to say thank you to our sponsor, major sponsor SP Brewery, and all the other rugby league sponsors, Digicel, PNG, Telecom PNG, and our corporate box holders, our signage billboard holders, and the policemen who will be there once again in full force for any nuisance. So I expect families, wives, children, students, adults, or people doing nothing on the Sunday to make their way down to Port Moresby Rugby League.
Great stuff. So what time does the first game kick off?
First game, the under-19 grand final should be at 11, and then we should have the A grade at about 2:30.
Sounds like it's going to be a great atmosphere down there at PRL Lloyd Robson Oval, the home of rugby league in Port Moresby. Any final words before we end the segment?
Oh, I'd like to get the teams to play their best, the three clubs to play their best, may the best team win, and if they lose, so be it. The season ends here, but rugby league doesn't end here. And I want the people of Port Moresby to come and enjoy a real game of footy on Sunday.
Wise words indeed. Mickey, thank you very much for coming into the studio and talking about the Port Moresby Rugby League Grand Final that's happening this Sunday. Make sure you get down there and watch it. I'm sure you're going to enjoy yourself on Sunday.
Of course, of course. Thank you.
Well, it's time for another break, and when we return, we're going to wrap things up here on Trukai Sports Scene.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports Scene. It's about that time when we wrap things up here on the show for this week. But before we do, we head to this week's Talk Pillai with Charles Paranda.
Good evening everyone, and thank you again for joining me for this week's Trukai Talk Pillai. Our 1000 prizes promo, guys. The promo has ended. The 13th of October is the day that the promo has ended. It was last week Saturday to be exact. Yep, the week 9 and 10 winners, yes, your names will be drawn this week, so check out your papers, the national or the postgrad, to see if you're a winner of week 9 or week 10. The major prize, which is the Ford Super Cab, it will be drawn next week, Monday, the 22nd of October. So for all you entrants, keep your fingers crossed, because next week Monday is the day when we draw the major prize. You might be a lucky winner to drive away this Ford Super Cab. Apart from the 1000 prizes promo, guys, the Moresby Show, it's on the 27th to the 28th of this month. Also, all you lay residents, make your way down to the Moresby Show area to enjoy yourself on these 2 days of fun-filled action. If you're in the showground, please don't forget to check out the Trukai Village and go along to the Trukai Pavilion, where you will see Watete and the gang, including Kanage, strutting the stuff on stage and keeping everyone entertained on the day. Apart from the Trukai Pavilion, there's also the Trukai Funhouse. Parents, bring your kids along to the Trukai Funhouse to take part in our fun-filled games. Heaps of prizes to win, heaps of showbags to give away, heaps of stuff to see. The games that will be played on the day would be Shoot to Win, Pass the Ball, Pass and Win, Knock the Coconut, Wheel of Fortune, and of course our famous Jumpy Castle. There'll also be food and drinks sold on the day as well, so don't walk around the showgrounds with an empty stomach. Before I leave you tonight, guys, a quick roundup of tonight's Trukai Talk Pillai. 1000 prizes promo, it has ended on the 13th of October, but the major prize will still be drawn on the 22nd of this month, which will be next week, Monday. 27th and the 28th is the day that the Moresby Show would be on, so for all the lay residents, get geared up for 2 days of fun-filled action at the Moresby Show. Don't forget to check out our Trukai Pavilion and the Trukai Funhouse. That's it for me, guys. I'll see you all again next week for another segment of Trukai Talk Pillai.
And there you have it, this week's Trukai Talk Pillai, brought to you by Charles Paranda. He does a great job, doesn't he, Andrew?
He does do a great job. Everyone at Trukai does a great job. That's why it is the best rice here in PNG.
Yep. And unfortunately, it's a wrap for this week. Andrew, what will you be doing this weekend?
For the rest of the weekend, I'm not sure yet. Plans are still open. Probably a bit of soccer thrown in. We'll watch a bit of Premier League football action as well. Back on after the European World Cup qualifying break.
Yeah, forgive me. How did you go in your match on the weekend, Andrew?
2 from 2. 2 wins from 2 matches. Good to see. That's why we want
So
similar
good,
boys.
yeah.
And yourself, Marie? Busy week ahead?
Yeah, busy weekend. All of the grand finals will be happening here in Port Moresby. So if you're not doing anything on Saturday, head down to Amini Park for the AFL Grand Final and to the Lloyd Robson Oval for the Pom Rugby League Grand
Sure,
Final.
it's going to be some great action of the oval-shaped ball. And also to all the teams out there throughout the provinces getting ready for the PNG Games over in Kokopo coming up next month. Good luck with your preparations. Train hard. It's going to be a great PNG Games by all accounts. So good luck to everyone.
Well, it's a wrap for the show for this week, Andrew.
Yeah, another great show put together. Thanks to Bill Kamaki and our producer and presenter, Marie Sakumai.
Yes, and to our cameras, Suke and Royden and our audio man.
That's it for True Kai Sports Scene. We'll see you again next week on True Kai Sports Scene. Bye.
Good night.